What's up, everybody? At the end of season 2 of The Godfather of Harlem, Bumpy had just received the biggest doozy shipment in history of 3,000 kilos, which was supposed to put him in complete control of the streets, where even the Italian mafia would have to work for him. But as Joe Columbo said, Bumpy had the rotten luck of having it all burnt down in the 1964 riots. Now, we may never get to see this play out on screen, but what are the chances that Bumpy's building was burnt down by someone the Italians hired in order to make sure Bumpy couldn't gain control and that he would be sent crawling back to them in debt? Getting me to the beginning of season 3, where Bumpy owed a $3.5 million debt to the Italians and specifically Joe Columbo because of the dope that was burnt up in the riots. But Joe Columbo gave Bumpy a reasonable offer of 50-50 partnership instead of paying back the $3 million. But Bumpy denied the offer and robbed an armored truck instead in order to pay off his debt. One thing I miss from the first 2 seasons is Bumpy's chess matches with Frank Costello, because right now Bumpy and Joe Columbo are in the middle of a real life high level chess match as we get into episode 4 as Monsieur 98 is coming to town with his next shipment. So we have Joe Columbo making a play for the police department in Bumpy's district, paying them all more than Bumpy, so much more where they won't even talk to Nat or Chance about renegotiating a new deal. Columbo even sends a couple cops to shoot up Bumpy's club. Bumpy, now out to find these 2 cops, sends his crooked detective friend to find out who they are. But Columbo also finds out he was asking questions and had him killed. Bumpy now running out of time, because if he doesn't have the police on his pad, he would get a life sentence when the dope arrived. He sets up a meeting with Joe Columbo and agrees to the terms from Columbo's deal in episode 1 of 50-50 partnership. But Columbo now refuses and tells Bumpy he will now work for him. After telling Bumpy this, he shows Bumpy his dead police friend in the back of his trunk. But Columbo wasn't finished. He then sent the same 2 dirty cops who shot up Bumpy's club to make an arrest on Bumpy. But this is when Bumpy gets his break. The new police captain have followed the 2 cops and called them both by name to meet in his office in an hour. And this was all Bumpy needed to make his move. But I don't think Bumpy was going to let those cops take him anyway. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if the captain hadn't walked in. Since he has already experienced Alcatraz once, I wonder if he would be willing to actually die before going back. I'm sure he has consistent nightmares about that place, because it's been almost 15 years for me and I still can't sleep more than a couple hours at a time. I gotta wake up so I can get out of jail. I'm praying for the day I dream about pretty colors like the Garden of Eden, but yeah, it's either jail or I'm on the run. Things they don't tell you when you get into the life. But having the cops' names, he told Chance and Nat to bring them to him alive. And other than their mess up last episode, Chance and Nat are like MacGyver or something. There is no mission too hard. So with that being said, they bring the cops to Bumpy and Jose Battle to be tortured until they gave Bumpy all the names of the cops on Columbo's payroll. And who was on Columbo's payroll? None other than the new police captain. So Bumpy walks into the captain's office for the second time. The first time he walked in humbly, asking for the captain's help and was rejected. This time he is walking in with a smirk, because he got the two dirty cops to sign their resignation letters, he got their badges, and got them to sign a statement with all the names of the cops on Columbo's pad, including the new captain himself. The captain asked if he hurt these men, and Bumpy said, "If I did, what are you gonna do about it?" The captain stood up and said, "I can do plenty." But Bumpy said, "I don't think so," and let the cap know about the statements and told the cap, "Mother, you work for me now," and walked out. I'm telling you, I felt so justified when he did this. Bumpy Johnson is a real one for sure. So at the end of the episode, we see your boy Monsieur 98 touching down at the airport. So with Bumpy Johnson gaining control back of the police department, I'm thinking he should be in position to get the entire shipment like he did at the end of season 2. But since he was not able to profit of it, we don't know what Monsieur 98 is going to decide to do. He might divide it up between Bumpy and the Italians if Bumpy doesn't have enough money to cover the whole shipment. I'm not sure, because we know for sure that Joe Columbo is expecting to get a shipment himself, as we saw Stella Gigante trying to set him up for the feds and getting him on a recording telling her about the next shipment. But I'm for sure Columbo gave Stella the wrong information, because I know he knew she was fishing for information. But Columbo won Stella over anyway, even if he didn't figure out she was fishing for information to set him up. So Stella destroyed the tape before giving it back over to the feds. But Stella is playing a very dangerous game. So I guess we will have to wait and find out what happens for sure with the next shipment. But it's about to go down in episode 5. Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments.